The alarm clock doesn't even need to ring anymore. Long before it sounds, the demolition worker is awake, staring at the ceiling, body heavy with exhaustion, yet mind restless with yesterday's problems and today's challenges. At 3:45 a.m., the day begins in darkness. He dresses quietly, trying not to wake his partner or his children, and slips out of the house. Long before most of the country is stirring from sleep, he's already halfway down the motorway, heading towards a site that will demand every ounce of his concentration. This is daily life for countless men and women in demolition and construction. Early starts, long commutes, brutal shifts, and late returns. They leave home while the nation sleeps, work 9, 10, maybe even more hours, often without a meaningful break, and then sit for hours in rush hour traffic on their way home. By the time they finally step through the front door, they've been awake for 16, 17, even 18 hours. There's barely time for a quick meal, a short conversation, maybe a kiss goodnight for their children, and then just when their body is crying out for rest, their mind refuses to switch off. The day replays in their head. What went wrong? What still needs to be done? What will tomorrow bring? Sleep comes late, and when it does, it's shallow and restless. And then the cycle begins again. We often talk about toughness in this industry. Hard work never killed anyone, goes the old refrain. It's a lie we've told ourselves for so long that we've actually started to believe it. Sleep deprivation is not a harmless side effect of hard graft. It's dangerous, corrosive, and every bit as hazardous as the sites we work on. It eats away at health, clouds judgment, and casts long shadows over safety on site, safety on the road, and even safety at home. The human body isn't designed to endure repeated bouts of sleep loss. Being awake for 18 hours impairs performance to a level comparable with being legally drunk. Stretch that to 24 hours, and the impairment is severe. Reaction time slow, coordination falters, decision making collapses. Physically, the damage accumulates. Muscles struggle to repair themselves. The immune system weakens, making workers more prone to illness. Blood pressure rises, the heart strains, and the risk of cardiovascular disease climbs. Appetite hormones are disrupted, leading to poor diet choices and weight gain. Over time, the body becomes a battlefield where there is only ever one winner: exhaustion. And yet, in demolition and construction, this is the norm. Workers climb into machines after nights of broken sleep, their bodies running on fumes. We don't tolerate drunkenness on site, but somehow we tolerate and even glorify something equally harmful: fatigue. The damage isn't only physical, the mind pays just as steep a price. Concentration suffers, focus slips, mistakes creep in, a mismeasured cut, a misplaced tool, a forgotten check. Individually, these might seem small, but collectively, they can sow the seeds of disaster. Chronic fatigue also erodes mental health. Anxiety grows, irritability sharpens, depression lurks in the background. A worker who spends his days fighting fatigue has little energy left for patience or empathy. Home life bears the brunt: abrupt conversations, emotional distance, and strained relationships. Children see less of their parents, partners carry the emotional load, a family is left half empty by exhaustion. And when the mind does finally lie down, it still doesn't rest. It replays yesterday's errors, tomorrow's deadlines, the constant pressure to keep going. True rest never comes. Safety is where the implications of sleep deprivation are most visible and most frightening. Demolition and construction are already high risk industries. Heavy machinery requires sharp reflexes and laser like focus. Cutting, lifting, and rigging demand precision. Working at height requires balance and coordination. Fatigue undermines all of those. We plaster sites with safety signs. We hand out PPE. We enforce rules about alcohol and drugs. Yet we turn a blind eye to the equally dangerous state of exhaustion. A fatigued worker is a hazard, not because they lack skill, but because fatigue robs them of the ability to use that skill properly. The accidents we attribute to human error often have a quieter culprit: sleep deprivation. And the danger doesn't stop when the shift ends. After a long day on site, workers climb back into their cars and their vans, joining the chaos of rush hour traffic. They drive for hours, eyelids heavy, attention fraying. How many near misses happen each day? How many collisions? How many tragedies? Driving drowsy is no different than driving drunk. But unlike drink driving, there's no stigma, there's no breathalyzer, no company policy to stop it. We simply accept it as part of the job. The toll of chronic sleep deprivation is not measured only in daily mistakes or near misses. It builds over years, slowly and relentlessly. Workers who endure this cycle face higher risks of diabetes, obesity, stroke, and heart disease. Their life expectancy shortens, their quality of life diminishes, and burnout becomes inevitable. Perhaps the saddest truth in all this is that we accept this as normal. We tell ourselves this is just how the industry works. Early starts, long days, late nights, it's all part of the culture. But is it really necessary? We've modernised in so many ways. We've adopted new technology, embraced safer machinery, tightened regulations, and demanded higher environmental standards. When it comes to that most basic of human requirements, sleep, we still treat it as optional, as though toughness can replace rest. It can't. Toughness without recovery isn't resilience. It's a ticking time bomb for the worker, for their families, and for those working alongside them. Sleep deprivation is not a badge of honour. It's not a proof of commitment. It's not a necessary evil. It's a health hazard and a safety risk. The price is paid not just in accidents and illness, but in careers cut short and lives diminished. We can't keep running on empty because sooner or later, the tank doesn't run dry. The whole system breaks down completely. And when it does, the cost is far greater than a missed deadline or an incomplete job. The cost is human. In demolition and construction circles, we talk endlessly about the need for sustainability. Shouldn't we also build a sustainable future for the people that make it all possible?